What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday to everyone. Hopefully, everyone is doing well and having a great day so far. Welcome to the Friday Weather Update for Friday, July 5th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, this is where we talk about all things weather, do the daily weather update, and we do talk about the tropics as well. Hurricane Beryl has been a big weather headline as of lately, and it is going to continue to be one, as it is now looking to be a threat for Texas. So if you're new to my channel, want to learn about what's going on with the weather in the United States or anything else? Subscribe down below. Like this video, give it a thumbs up. Of course, hit that notification bell, share these videos with anyone you know, and leave a comment down below. Alrighty, Hurricane Beryl is over the Yucatan Peninsula this morning, and you can see here, it's not looking as organized as it once did. It has weakened over the Yucatan Peninsula, but it is going to re-enter the Gulf of Mexico this afternoon and evening, and it will regain strength once again. Here are the current numbers from the National Hurricane Center. Hurricane Beryl weakening as it moves further inland over the northeastern Yucatan Peninsula. Dangerous hurricane force winds, storm surge, and damaging waves expected over portions of the area for a few more hours. As of 10 a.m. Central Time, it is moving west-northwest at 16 miles per hour. Its minimum pressure is 980 millibars. Its maximum sustained winds are 85 miles per hour, which means it is still a Category 1 hurricane. Now let's take a look at the latest track from the Hurricane Center. And we can see here, it is expected to weaken to a tropical storm over the next several hours before going back into the Gulf of Mexico sometime this evening. And it'll be a tropical storm still 7 a.m. Saturday morning and again Saturday evening. But by 7 a.m. on Sunday, it is now expected to become a hurricane once again. And take a look as we follow the track. It is expected to make landfall now in Texas on Monday morning. So we're very concerned about that. And you can see here, it is going to continue northward over Texas now as a hurricane. They're forecasting a Category 1 hurricane, but as I will show you on the models, there's potential it could get even stronger than that because it does have to go over some relatively warm Gulf of Mexico waters. Taking a look at the latest tracks here from the hurricane models, and you can see here, all of them do make that right turn now. Just about almost every hurricane model now makes landfall over Texas or right over the Texas-Mexico border, and some of them go even further northeast than that towards Corpus Christi area. So we are very concerned about Texas at this time. I'll show you the intensity guidance, and you can see here, all of them continue to weaken it. Some of them do keep it as a hurricane, where it does not go down to a tropical storm. You can see here, they don't really strengthen it all that much, which, quite frankly, I don't really agree with because it has to go over some very warm waters. I think there is potential this could get back up to at least a Category 2. Now let's take a look at the models starting with the GFS, and I'm going to switch this to the hurricane view so you can see this actually better. And you can see here's the GFS when it's exiting the Yucatan Peninsula this evening. And as I advance this, you can see it slowly organizes, and a lot of models are indicating there could be a period of faster intensification or maybe even rapid intensification right before it makes landfall in Texas. And you can see here, it does get back to a strong Category 1 hurricane as it makes landfall in Texas. And Corpus Christi, again, you really need to pay attention to this. Now let's take a look at another one of the hurricane models, and we'll take a look at the HWRF. I will reverse this so you can see what happens. Here it is as it was over the Yucatan Peninsula, and watch this. You can see here, it still stays below 1000 millibars, and watch how quickly it starts to get its act together once again in the Gulf of Mexico. You can see here, 970, 971. Now we're starting to approach the Texas-Mexico border. Here we are on Sunday morning, and watch this. It actually continues to strengthen a little bit. You can see 962 millibars on the Texas coast, which would be a very strong Category 2 hurricane, if not maybe even a weak Category 3. Now, this is one of the models that is more extreme, but I just want to make you aware of what these models are showing, and you can see here, this is a very impressive storm system on the HWRF. You can see winds here. They would be close to, or if not over, 100 miles per hour. So we really need to pay attention because, this storm has a history of overperforming when it comes to the guidance. Let's take a look at another hurricane model. We'll take a look at the HAFSA. We'll see what that model does for Beryl. And this model is a little bit different, and I will show you the radar picture here. Here it is going over the Yucatan Peninsula. You can see it gets a lot more disorganized on this system, but as it does get closer to the coast, and this particular model takes a landfall a little bit more south, right over the Texas-Mexico border, and you can see here, this one does get its act together really quickly. 964 millibars. So once again, probably a very strong Category 2 at that point. And history tells us, like I said, this storm has a history of beating all the odds. It strengthened in a sheared environment. It strengthened over very warm waters and outperformed all of the intensity plots. You see, here's the intensity plots. Once again, we're seeing very few members take this up to a Category 2. I think there's potential this could be wrong, and I want you to be prepared in case that happens. Does it end up being weaker? It could, and that would be fantastic news. But you need to be prepared in case this is completely wrong and we see a storm system stronger than a Category 2, or at least stronger than the Hurricane Center's Category 1 that they are forecasting when it makes landfall on the Texas coast. All right, moving on. We do have other stuff to talk about in the United States. We will show some more Beryl-related stuff in this as well. Taking a look at the National Hazards Map. Very hot conditions on the West Coast, very hot conditions on the East Coast. Heat indexes on the East Coast, 100 to 105 degrees. That includes Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, Richmond, Virginia. Even in places down in the southeast, Atlanta, Georgia, heat index near 100 for you. Portions of California, heat indexes could go over 120 degrees yet again, and over 100 degrees, really, all up and down the West Coast. It is going to be downright hot, and it's going to last for several more days. Taking a look now at what's going on with the radar picture, we do have a disturbance that is moving through the Ohio Valley, and this does drape itself all the way down into portions of Alabama and Mississippi, and there are showers and thunderstorms along this. This system will continue to move east throughout the day. We do have another system across northern Texas. This system's not moving all that fast, so I am concerned there could be a little bit of a flash flood threat just northwest of Dallas and Oklahoma City. You can see here there are some heavier pockets of rainfall with this. Southeast, just your daily garden variety showers and thunderstorms today. And on the west coast, well, not much to talk about on the radar there. All is quiet where you could actually use some rainfall. Taking a look at the Weather Prediction Center for today, marginal risk of excessive rainfall across portions of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia. You get the idea. Also up in the Northeast and across the Great Lakes, day 2, there is a slight risk that is introduced from portions of Georgia through South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. And remember, we do have this boundary that is going to stall into this region, and that could be a focal point for some heavier rainfall. There is also a marginal risk that goes back to Texas, and a marginal risk up through the Northeast, and a marginal risk of excessive rainfall across portions of the Plains and Iowa. On day 3, there's a slight risk for Oklahoma and Kansas, and you start to see a slight risk gets introduced for portions of Texas. That is Hurricane Beryl related, and I suspect if we were to go out further into Monday, at some point we will probably see a moderate risk get introduced thanks to Beryl. Taking a look at the Storm Prediction Center here, and we can see, let's go back to yesterday. You can see yesterday there were 5 tornado reports, 65 wind reports, 3 high wind reports, 12 hail reports, 82 reports total, and today so far there have already been 4 storm reports, and I suspect there'll probably be some more added throughout the day. It's not going to be a massive severe weather day, but there will be some severe weather reports to be had. West Virginia, and portions of Kentucky, Tennessee, and extreme North Carolina, and extreme southern Ohio. It's a slight risk day for you. Today's threats are as follows. Less than 2% tornado everywhere, wind 15% there, 5% surrounding that, 5% in New Mexico, and 5% in Montana as well. Hail, 5% in New Mexico, and there's a 5% hail area in portions of Michigan for today as well. Day 2 outlook. Yes, there is now a Day 2 severe weather threat for portions of Nebraska, Colorado, and portions of Kansas, and there is, with that, no tornado threat at this time. Wind and hail are the main threats. Day 3, Oklahoma and portions of Kansas, there is a severe weather threat for you. Now let's take a look at the 12Z HUR through the next 48 hours, and you will see what is expected from that model today. And you can see the showers and thunderstorms will continue across portions of Kentucky today and Tennessee. Take a look what happens down in Mississippi. You can see a convective blowup, one of those thunderstorm complexes that form and then the outflow boundary kind of pushes outward in all directions. We could see one of those occur today. And if that does happen, you would see some localized severe weather and even some very heavy rainfall. You can see, let's zoom this in. It does spread down to the area of New Orleans. Look at that. That is really impressive. So should that happen, you could see a flash flooding threat for today. And taking a look at total accumulated precipitation, you see localized 2 to 4, even isolated 5-inch amounts do occur with this, which again, that could cause some flash flooding. Taking a look across the rest of the country, going back to simulated radar, we can see here that showers and thunderstorms from this complex that is moving through portions of Kentucky right now, that will actually get stronger throughout the day. And the HUR model is relatively impressive for New York State. We do want to take a zoom in there. Take a look at this. You would have localized severe weather should this play out the way it is showing, and that would continue right into New England again tomorrow. So there could be a severe weather threat across portions of New England tomorrow that gets missed by the Storm Prediction Center unless they make some changes relatively soon. There would also be a heavy rainfall threat. Let's take a look at total precipitation amounts. Wow, look at this. You have a large swath of 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, maybe even locally 5-inch amounts in upstate New York, like near Saratoga or just north of Albany. So that's something we're going to have to keep our eyes on for tomorrow. That would be a little bit of a surprise because remember, there is just a marginal risk for excessive rainfall and really not much for New York State within that area. Alrighty, moving on now, taking a look at the rest of the modeling, and we do want to take a look at the GFS for the next several days, and we will see on the GFS, there's Hurricane Beryl down in the Gulf of Mexico. Let's go to the 6Z run, actually. 12Z is just coming in. And you can see, Beryl does eventually make landfall over Texas. A lot of questions remain. What will happen after that? Who is going to get the leftover heavy rainfall? There's going to be a boundary that is stalled here along portions of the East Coast. And along that, it's going to be a focal point for heavier rainfall. You can see here, these heavier blobs of rainfall do set up. Some of the moisture and energy from Beryl gets mixed in, so you do have some tropical moisture. And anyone who is where that boundary is going to see heavier rainfall. Out on the West Coast, things are going to remain relatively quiet, but also relatively hot, very hot. So I am concerned about wildfires. I'm concerned about heat-related illnesses. It is all going to be a thing moving forward. And as we advance now into later next week, take a look here across the Atlantic. Let's switch this to the 500 millibar view. And you can see we are under the influence of this big, huge ridge still. And with that, you can see there's areas of energy along the East Coast. In those areas of energy, there is going to be heavier rainfall. And I will show you that. You can see here what sets up these areas of very heavy showers and thunderstorms, training segments. So there will be flash flooding threats every day that this occurs. And you can see it takes a very long time for this to clear out. Finally, as we get into around July 16th, the GFS finally tries to push to the southeast. But take a look at this. It gets hung up once again. So we are in a much different pattern now, and it is going to be really beneficial for the places that need to rain, but localized areas, it's going to be too much rain. Taking a look at the Weather Prediction Center's days 1 through 7 precipitation. Down in Texas, where Beryl is going to hit, you can see anywhere from 7 to 10 inches of rain is being forecasted. There will be localized areas that could see well over 10 inches of rainfall. And not only are we going to be talking about heavy rainfall down there, storm surge and wind is a big issue with this storm as well, as it makes landfall somewhere between the Mexico-Texas border, maybe Corpus Christi, and somewhere in between there and Galveston, Texas. You really have to pay attention. And really, the whole entire Texas coastline is going to feel some sort of an impact, whether it be high waves, some winds, or even heavy rainfall. On the East Coast, take a look here. Directly along the I-95 corridor, right on up through to Delmarva, through New Jersey, and up to even in portions of New England. A very heavy corridor of 2 to 3 inches of rainfall does occur, with locally 3 inches plus. Remember, these training segments, if they tap into the tropical moisture, they are going to really produce some heavy rainfall, so we have to keep our eyes on that. Taking a look in the central region once again, Oklahoma and portions of Kansas. Heavy rainfall is possible for you. Of course, we do have that one area of heavy rainfall that is already ongoing, so this could potentially even be likely underdone. And look at the West Coast. Hardly a drop for you. Florida, your daily showers and thunderstorms will actually start to add up in some cases, and some of that will be because of that stalled boundary. All right, taking a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Well above average in the west, well above average in the east, slightly below average in the places that will see the effects of what would be left of Beryl in Oklahoma and portions of Missouri and Arkansas. 6 to 10 day precipitation, heavy precipitation expected in Texas, and we do see higher shades starting to show up where the stalled front will be on the East Coast. West Coast, below average, 8 to 14 day. Above average temperatures for the majority of the country, with exceptions the portions of Texas where there could be some moisture that hangs around, and above average precipitation from the Four Corners region through Texas, through portions of the East Coast, just slightly above average. It's going to be a very unsettled pattern with showers and thunderstorms. Won't always be severe storms, but those storms that produce tropical downpours. Northern plains, below average precipitation for you, and the Northwest as well. And you can see California does finally maybe get a little bit of precipitation in eastern California. We'll have to keep our eyes on that. Alrighty, folks, you can follow me when I'm not on here on my X account at Climate Data Report. We will probably do another update maybe again this evening after we see what the 12Z models do with Hurricane Beryl. I do really want to keep you updated on that, so it would probably be a Hurricane Beryl dedicated video later this afternoon. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel down below, hit that notification bell, share these videos with anyone you know, especially those in the path of Beryl. They really need to be informed with what's going on. I will see you all again next time. Until I see you again next time, have a great day, but have a safe day as well. Thanks for watching.